Here we have a verse of Al-Quran Al-Kareem. وَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ مُصَدِّقٌ لِمَا مَعَهُمْ نَبَذَ فَرِيقٌ مِّنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِهِمْ كَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. And when a messenger from Allah came to them, meaning who? Yahud and Nasara and the previous nations, that which was with them, a party of those who had been given the scripture, so Ahlul Kitab. A group within Ahlul Kitab from Yahud and Nasara rejected the message of Al-Quran, and they also rejected the previous books. Threw the scripture of Allah behind their backs as if they did not know, meaning what it contained. This is a description of a group from Al-Yahud and Al-Nasara. The full verse, the next verse in Surah Al-Baqarah. This is verse 102. وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ بِبَابِلَ هَارُوتَ وَمَارُوتَ وَمَا يُعَلِّمَانِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ حَتَّى يَقُولَا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرْ فَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مِنْهُمَا مَا يُفَرِّقُونَ بِهِ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ وَمَا هُمْ بِضَارِّينَ بِهِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُمْ وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا لَمَنِ اشْتَرَاهُ مَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ وَلَبِئْسَ مَا شَرَوْا بِهِ أَنفُسَهُمْ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ. And they followed instead. So this group from Al-Yahud and Al-Nasara, a group from amongst them, what did they do? What did this group do? They followed instead what devils had recited during the reign of Suleiman alayhi salam. So if you check the books of magic, you will have the keys of Gisha, all these other books, the lost keys of Solomon. In Urdu, you have many of these books also translated. Biyad Suleimani, other works on sihr, black magic. They attribute them to Sayyidina Suleiman alayhi salam. So a group from Jews and Christians learned this knowledge, which was being taught during the time of Sayyidina Suleiman alayhi salam by the shayateen. It states, it was not Suleiman alayhi salam who disbelieved, because they ascribed this knowledge to Sayyidina Suleiman alayhi salam. But the devils disbelieved. The shayateen were kuffar, and they taught people magic. Teaching people magic, and that which was revealed to the two angels at Babylon. Now Babil is a region near Kufa city. The ruins of Babil city can be found today in near Kufa. And they will have imagery of devils in the city of Babil. The two angels, Harut and Marut. Now the Mufassirun, they mentioned that Harut and Marut were angels. They did not commit kufr. They were sent to test the people. What had happened is that because prophets ﷺ were performing miracles in Babil and other regions to guide people, other people would perform magic. And Harut and Marut were sent to teach people the difference between magic and miracles. So they would teach people magic so they could differentiate between magic and miracles. And they would tell the people after teaching them, do not use this, do not disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The angels did not commit disbelief. But the two angels do not teach anyone unless they say, we are a trial, so do not disbelieve, meaning by practicing magic. Do not disbelieve. This is another source of the... So two sources are mentioned here. One was the shayateen, and the other was the magic taught by Harut and Marut. And yet they learned from them that by which they cause separation between a man and his wife. This was telling us a form of magic. Within that magic, it doesn't cover all the magic, because the magic is numerous types. And one of those types of magic was how to separate between a man and woman. That's one type. But there are many types of magic. it states, but they do not harm anyone through it, meaning through magic, except by permission of Allah. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has qudra over everything. And the people learn what harms them and does not benefit them. But the children of Israel, Bani Israel, certainly knew that whoever purchased the magic would not have in the hereafter any share. And wretched is that for which they sold themselves, if they only knew. They sold their souls to the devil literally for magic. You have what we call masonry, which is one form of magic. And even al-imam Ahmad Khan rahimahullah ta'ala in al-Fatawa al-Ridawiyya mentions the Freemasons as a group of magicians. That passage in the Fatawa, I was going to reference that passage today, but last night I could not find it. But I did read that passage in the Fatawa where he mentions them as a group of people who control jinn. And this is all you need to know about masonry. This is all you need to know, that they are a group of magicians from Jews and Christians, within Jewish and Christian and even now Muslim culture, in the sense that you have Muslim masons. Of course they become kafir, but they claim to be Muslim. They won't announce this. Many of the rulers and many of their ministers and many even clerics, people who claim to be scholars of Islam, may be members of a Masonic lodge. But those people, they be categorized into that group of magicians. The reason why I mention this is that not only Masons or Illuminati or these other groups are a part of the culture that controls the globe. This is just one group of the many groups that you have. What unites them all is shaitan. This is all we have to know. Because some people may read multiple books on Freemasonry to no avail, when that one verse of Qur'an summarizes everything. That it is a group from the Jews and Christians who learnt magic. Not all Jews and Christians, a group from the Jews and the Christians. And we know of the Templars when they carried out crusades, and we know that they learnt magic and they brought it back and they formed lodges. They are just magicians. We have magicians in the Muslim world, but magic is something outlawed, and Islam has spirituality. Subhanallah. Some people who study astrology and sciences, which have been forbidden by Islam, complain that religion outlaws mysticism. But those people are not aware of the Islamic sciences like spiritual medicine and spiritual cure, and how a person can use awrad, litanies, to his own benefit. But that is a subject for another time. Then you are finding fathers' secret societies prevalent in society within Anglo-Judaic-Christian world order. You have different societies, this is a fact. And it's no secret, I'll tell you why. Why this is no secret? Because some of the groups that we have are very open about this, and we will come on to them shortly. Here we have a verse regarding Qarun. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala quotes him in the Quran, قَالَ إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي أَوَلَمْ يَعْلَمْ أَنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ أَهْلَكَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ مِنَ الْقُرُونِ مَنْ هُوَ أَشَدُّ مِنْهُ قُوَّةً وَأَكْثَرُ جَمْعًا وَلَا يُسْأَلُ عَنْ ذُنُوبِهِمُ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. He said, I was only given it because of knowledge I have. Who? Qarun. Qarun said that I was given it because of knowledge I have. What was he given? He was given gold in abundance. So much gold that the treasures Qarun kept, people would carry them in large keys of gold. And a whole group of men would come to carry those large keys, to open the safes. But he said when he was reproached, rebuked for not giving gold out in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said in reply to that I have been given this by knowledge from myself. Which knowledge was he referring to? The science of alchemy. And the science of alchemy is something which is real and exists. He had learnt this science from Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam, and then misused the science. And this science, now we have secret societies claiming to have to possess this science, but it is not true. This science has been lost, and many of the Muslim ulama do not also have this science. This is another verse of the Qur'an referring to Fir'aun. I wanted to highlight something regarding Fir'aun. فَالْتَقَطَهُ آلُ فِرْعَوْنَ لِيَكُونَ لَهُمْ عَدُوًّا وَحَزَنًا إِنَّ فِرْعَوْنَ وَهَامَانَ وَجُنُودَهُمَا كَانُوا خَاطِئِينَ. Which means that the people of Fir'aun, here it states family of Fir'aun, Al means people. The family of Fir'aun picked up Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam from the river. Why? So he can be for them an enemy and a cause of grief. But this was the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, Pharaoh, Fir'aun and Haman and their soldiers were deliberate sinners. Now I wanted to highlight Haman. Who was Haman? The Qur'an states, وَقَالَ فِرْعَوْنُ يَا هَامَانُ ابْنِ لِي صَرْحًا لَعَلِّي أَبْلُغُ الْأَسْبَابِ. That, and Fir'aun said, O Haman, construct for me a tower that I may reach the ways. Asbab. He wanted Haman to build for him a tower, أبلغ الأسباب, that he may reach the tower. But Haman was an architect. Haman was an architect. Now, Egyptology, if you check Egyptology, the word Haman in the Bible referred to a person who existed in the time of Babylon. But in Egyptology, later they found out that Haman was an individual who existed in the time of Fir'aun and who was the chief architect. Also referred to as Amun. Haman is the Arabic pronunciation. And he was the chief architect. Now the current civilization that we have has a pharaonic outlook in the sense that it may be Jewish and Christian in its origin, but like Fir'aun, it has architecture, and the way Fir'aun had an army which was oppressive, the governments today are oppressive, and the way Fir'aun had a police state, today we have a police state. All these aspects are found in the modern world, but the origins are Jewish and Christian, and the globalist structure is mixed, it's a mesh of different civilizations all in one, including what we mentioned as masonry and magic and all these different aspects. This, regarding Fir'aun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ النَّاسِ عَنْ آيَاتِنَا لَغَافِلُونَ. So today we will save you in body. Now some Christians misquote this. They say if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Fir'aun, how can Fir'aun have died? But they are misquoting this. What the verse refers to is that the body of Fir'aun is preserved. And this is a miracle of the Qur'an, that today if you go to Egypt you will find the body of Fir'aun preserved. Why? So that you may be a sign to those who succeed you. A sign to the people who will come after you, so they take heed. So the current global situation that we have, the leaders take heed from the pharaonic system that preceded them. Regarding magic, Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam said, فَلَمَّا أَلْقَوْا قَالَ مُوسَى مَا جِئْتُمْ بِهِ السِّحْرِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَيُبْطِلُهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُصْلِحُ عَمَلَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. And when they had thrown, meaning the magicians of Pharaoh, threw down their staffs, Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam said, what you have brought is only magic. Allah will expose its worthlessness. سَيُبْطِلُهُ. Allah will destroy this magic. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not amend the work of corruptors, people who are corrupt. And this goes for these groups. Now, CIA is also known for its usage of magic. This book, Declassified CIA Manual of Trickery and Deception, the official declassified document. The CIA, we do not need to mention Freemasons. When you have the CIA, which is just as bad, worse than the Freemasons, You have organizations like this middle one. Do you know this one? Middle one. Who knows this one? MI5. UK intelligence. And then this one, notorious one, Mossad. And I would have placed ISI on there, but some Pakistanis would have been upset because the agenda of ISI has changed to a secular agenda. And then you have the United Nations. Now, the reason why I placed the United Nations on there, an old friend of mine, Sidi Abdul Qadir Ayman al-Ahwal, rahmallahu ta'ala, who passed away last year, was an Englishman from Cornwall. And he was from an upper middle class family. He was Muslim for over 40 years. His father was a banker and a Freemason. He accepted Islam and knew everything there is to know about these organizations. He told me that the UN, and by the way, he was a journalist, a prominent journalist in the sense, he had been to Afghanistan, he was shot in the leg in Afghanistan during the war. He went to Palestine, and he had even entered the Kaaba. And he had met the Saudi royals, and he had even been in the palace on Abu Qubais. So he was a man who traveled well. And he told me that in the UN building in New York, they claim that they have no religions that are represented in the building in New York. But except one group known as the Lucifer's Foundation, which claims to promote spirituality. And this is a fact. It's not conspiratorial or conspiracy theory. So we do not even need to get into conspiracy theories, because the facts are there for everyone to see that people in the modern Judaic, Anglo-Christian, global pharaonic culture, a mesh of everything, you cannot even give it one label. They are deeply involved in sihr. And this last sign here, do you know what this sign is for? The European Union. And this represents the Tower of Babylon. And what they said, Europe, many tongues, one voice. What they mean is, you know when we say he is babbling on, the word babbling is from Babylon. Because when the tower was being built, an experience took place on the tower where a curse came on the people, and they all began to talk different tongues. So they used this advertisement showing the Tower of Nimrod, and saying that it is many tongues that are represented in Europe. But why would you use a satanic symbol? A symbol that opposes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the reason why I placed the crescent here is because some of the conspiracy theorists claim that Islam has its origins in moon worship. But what I wanted to show here is the crescent and the moon, the crescent and the star was introduced into Islam at a much later period by, for instance, the Salajiqa, the Seljuk Empire, and the Turkic empires. So it cannot really be called an Islamic symbol except in the sense that it was introduced into Muslim civilization at a later period. It is nowhere in the Sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ that the companions ever used a crescent and star. So I hope the conspiracy theorists or the truth movement take heed from this.